Tye Tribbett went viral last week about the church's whack comments. A lot of people were actually defending him. Gospel artists were defending him. Fred Hammond made a video on Instagram. Isaac Carree, y'all know Isaac Carree from Men of Standard. He used to sing with John P. Key. He had a solo career, sang that song In the Middle of. But y'all know who Isaac is. Something about the name Jesus. That Isaac Carree. Okay, here's what Isaac Carree had to say about the whole thing. He said, when you want the spotlight so bad, it's easy to judge someone who has it. You can't judge a seat you've never sat in. Do y'all know what this is? This is what you call a logical fallacy, because his argument is that people only want to criticize what Tye Tribbett said because they want his spotlight. And that's a logical fallacy called an appeal to motive, because first of all, you don't know everyone's motive. Who's to say that everybody on the entire internet who's talking about this wants to be where Tye Tribbett's sitting? I know I don't. I personally don't want to go on the Breakfast Club, because if going on the Breakfast Club means that I have to basically forfeit the gospel, then I don't need to go up there, right? So you're appealing to people's motives, just assuming that people want what you want, and that's why they're saying something bad. But even if somebody is saying something because they admire what Tye Tribbett has, it doesn't mean that their statement is false. You know, like say someone that you don't like says, hey man, your breath stinks, or hey man, you got a bug in your nose. Now they may be saying that because they don't like you, but does that mean that your breath doesn't stink? Doesn't mean that the bug's not hanging from your nose? Not necessarily. Appeal to motive. Logical fallacies out here. We have got to learn to listen to what people are saying and use logic to determine if what they're saying actually follows with reality, because that was just a silly statement. Anywho, so Isaac Carree said that, and then Fred Hammond posted this video in response.
The nephew Tye, you gotta know that he understands, as a pastor, he understands what he's talking about. Problem is that he said systems of the church. Nobody heard systems. They just heard church, and I get it. Now, Pastor Mike, who is the nephew as well, is absolutely right that you got to be careful when you come on these platforms and you say certain things, that these kind of clips are going to get out by the millions, because the people that are doing that are in a system that wants to downgrade the church as well. So a person that's on the fence, should I be in these streets, or is this thing inside me God's voice telling me to come home? I don't know. That might tip them to the other side. So I get it. I absolutely understand it. But the system is what he's talking about, and I get it. Let's give a couple examples. Number one, last year, there was a popular bishop, good friend of mine. He was going to partner with an organization, another church organization that did not, see the Bible the way we saw it. And, we kind of looked down on stuff like that, because I come from the days of the PAW Apostolic. It was against the Kojics, and the Kojics was against the PAW and the CGAF and the Baptists. And we just everybody was going to hell if you wasn't in our organization. See, that's a system. That's a system right there. But this bishop was going to do a great thing by reaching across the aisle and say, hey, listen, we may not agree on God, but let's feed people. Let's feed thousands of people, and maybe they'll see God. But because people inside that organization said, no, we're not supposed to hook up with no heathens, and I'm against it, he couldn't really do it. You know why? Because at the end of the day, he had to keep peace inside of his organization. So people didn't get fed and couldn't see God because of a system that said, no, we're not going to partner with a heathen that serves what we don't think is God. I got that. I understand that. But thousands of people did not benefit because of the system of voting in the church and how it should be done. And he had to keep the peace. Jesus upset the system. The system was, people come in there and they could sell. The Pharisees were going to benefit. That's why they let him sell around the temple and this, that, that. But Jesus walked through and kicked everything over, and he mad because he didn't like the system. We got to hear it all out. It's so many different things that we can say on this. This is a good hot button, and I guarantee you it's going to go on for a minute. But I get it, Pastor Mike. I do understand what he's saying, because it's very, 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 very important. And it's just weighing in. And I'm kind of glad we got a little hot button right, because it's going to open up dialogue. I got you. Weigh in.
Here's my thing. I love Fred Hammond. Anyone who knows me, Fred Hammond is always going to be at the top of my favorite gospel music. But I don't know what in the world he was talking about here. For a little context, he says, I had a pastor friend who the church pretty much wrote him off because he was just, all he was trying to do was feed hungry people. Sounds really good, right? Until you find out, I believe what he's referencing is Bishop Sheard when he partnered with the Mormon church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or however you say it, the Mormons. He partnered with them for some kind of charitable event, function, whatever. It was supposed to be about feeding people. Now, I don't have a problem with feeding hungry people, but I don't think you have to partner with an organization that is actively preaching a false gospel that is leading people to spend eternity separated from God. Out of all the churches in Utah or wherever they was going, I think this was supposed to happen in Utah. And if I'm wrong, my apology. But of all the churches, parachurch groups, whatever, that you could have partnered with, you chose the Mormons. Why? Because this is my thing. Okay, if you feed people today, but then they get hit by a car, die tomorrow, where are they going to end up? Which gospel are they choosing? You know, they go up to the table, you got the Kojics on one side, you got the Mormons on the other side. Which gospel should they follow? You know what I mean? Like, maybe it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, especially to people who don't have a Christian worldview. But if our job as the church, the Great Commission, Jesus gave us the Great Commission to go out and spread the gospel. I'm sorry, but partnering with the Mormons to do that could possibly damper the Great Commission. So why would you do that? Fred Hammond is making this type of commentary or whatever. He's in a group, or used to be in a group back in the day, called Commission. Get it? Commission? The Great Commission? Like, come on, Fred. What he said still to this day doesn't even make sense to me, but I digress.